Major drama could be on the way in Coronation Street following several recent hints from the cast. During a chat with The Mirror, actors Beth Nixon, Olivia Francis Brown, and Jonathan Howard opened up about the explosive Murder Week storyline that ended with Theo Silverton's death. Their characters Megan Walsh, Jodie Ramsey, and Carl Webster were also thought to be at risk of leaving the soap. Now that all three characters have survived, fresh twists appear to be on the horizon. Comments from the actors seem to tease what might happen next, from Megan finally facing consequences to Carl potentially turning his life around. After Megan's dark secret was uncovered, viewers watched Will Driscoll report her to the police this week. Megan had manipulated and groomed Will for months, and once he realized the abuse he had suffered, he finally decided to speak out. Following police questioning, Megan was arrested, although she will later be released on bail next week. Reports recently claimed cast members connected to the storyline were seen filming court scenes, raising questions about whether Megan will eventually face justice. Beth suggested that punishment was inevitable for the character, describing Megan as beyond redemption. She strongly hinted that fans wanting a prison ending for Megan may get their wish, teasing that justice would arrive in some form. Soap boss Kate Brooks also promised the storyline would give Megan the punishment she deserves. The big question now is whether Will finally get justice too. Jonathan, who plays Carl, hinted that viewers will be shocked when Theo's killer is eventually revealed. Olivia also suggested fans would never guess the culprit. Their comments seem to cast doubt over the current list of suspects. If one of the obvious names turned out to be responsible, it might not come as much of a surprise. However, characters like George or Todd being exposed could still create a huge shock. Kate Brooks has already confirmed the killer reveal will air in either June or July. Jonathan also discussed Carl's future following his violent attack by Ronnie, which left him recovering in hospital. During an emotional conversation with Debbie, Carl admitted he loved her and appeared determined to change his behavior. The actor revealed he hopes Carl begins a redemption journey, although he still wants the character to keep some of his troublesome personality. This suggests Carl could finally be heading in a more positive direction, as there may be little future for him otherwise. At the same time, rumors continue to circulate that Carl could leave the soap after a mysterious social media post sparked speculation among fans. Meanwhile, Olivia teased major developments ahead for Jodie. The character is currently staying with Daniel after attempting to drive a wedge between David and Shona. Despite the ongoing conflict, Olivia hinted that Jodie and Shona may eventually become closer, suggesting their current issues may not last forever. She also explained that Jodie's troubled relationship with her father is a key reason behind her unstable behavior. According to Olivia, there are still hidden secrets from Jodie's past waiting to be explored, alongside the mystery surrounding her trinket box. The actress heavily hinted that the box may eventually be discovered, exposing all of Jodie's schemes. She also revealed that every object inside carries its own backstory, teasing even more dramatic twists in the future. Ben Driscoll reached breaking point in tonight's Coronation Street after an emotional and chaotic week at the Rovers. During the previous episode, Maggie Driscoll finally confessed that she was responsible for the accidental death of her husband Alan. After learning the shocking truth about his father, Ben struggled to cope with the revelation, causing major tension within the family. Once Eva found out what Maggie had done, Maggie was forced out. The week had already been difficult for Ben after his son Will went to the police to report Megan Walsh for abusing and grooming him as part of the soap's disturbing storyline. With emotions running high in tonight's episode, Ben completely lost control at the pub. Furious and overwhelmed, he threw Maggie's belongings into the street and accused her of destroying his trust. He lashed out at her, insisting she had spent her entire life disappointing people, especially him. Meanwhile, Steve showed sympathy toward Maggie as she emotionally opened up to him. Maggie explained that Jim cared deeply about Steve and Andy, just as much as she loves Ben and Finley. Steve later tried convincing Ben to listen to Maggie's side of the story, but Ben angrily snapped back, insisting it had nothing to do with him and accusing Maggie of oversharing. When Steve reminded him that they were family, Ben's anger exploded even further. He ordered Steve out of the pub before throwing out every customer as well. Ben admitted that everything he believed about his life had suddenly fallen apart, and he bitterly questioned whether everyone else found the situation entertaining. After Steve joked that gaining a new brother was not something that happened every day, Ben cruelly rejected him and insisted they meant nothing to each other. He then physically forced Steve outside before shouting at everyone else to leave immediately. Later, Ben shared an emotional moment with Eva, confessing that he felt as though he was failing everyone around him and letting his family down. Eva quickly reassured him, telling him to stop blaming himself. She insisted he was doing the best he could and reminded him that, for her, that would always be enough. Coronation Street has pointed towards a possible top suspect in the ongoing Theo Silverton murder storyline. The scaffolder, played by former Tracy Beaker actor James Cartwright, was killed off during the show's dramatic murder week, following a long-running plot in which he had been abusing his partner, Todd Grimshaw. Alongside Todd, several other characters were listed as potential suspects, including George Shuttleworth, Gary Windus, Summer Spellman, Christina Boyd, and Danielle Silverton. After a heavily criticized flash-forward sequence that repeatedly replayed the same day leading up to the killing, Theo was ultimately found dead at the base of scaffolding, making him one of the central casualties of the storyline. On the night of the incident, Gary Windus was already furious with Theo due to his treatment of Todd and ended up damaging the scaffolder's van in anger. In a recent episode, DS Lisa Swain and DC Kit Green began to grow increasingly suspicious of Gary's involvement. Fans will recall that Gary had previously been questioned about the death, but his wife Maria Connor protected him by giving police a false alibi and claiming they had been together at the time, with CCTV evidence also erased. In a meeting at the police station, Kit argued that Gary had a history of violence and had strong reasons to dislike Theo. Lisa, however, reminded him that Gary's connection to Kit's partner made the situation more complicated, though Kit dismissed the concern and insisted Gary was the main suspect. He later told Lisa that the more he thought about it, the more convinced he became that Gary should be treated as the prime suspect. Lisa then informed him that digital experts were unable to recover the deleted footage, leaving the investigation back at square one. Frustrated, she told Kit to make tea as they tried to regroup. Later, while Gary was having lunch with Maria at the bistro, he once again insisted he was innocent. However, the couple were soon approached on the street by Kit, who continued to question Gary's actions. Kit remarked that he had better things to do than chase Gary, but made it clear he was still not convinced by his explanation. Maria stepped in, asking whether Kit actually had any evidence or if he was simply harassing her husband. Kit responded that Theo's murder was a serious case and that he was focused on anyone with a motive and a local connection. He added that Gary still fitted that profile, so he had no intention of backing off. Viewers reacting online were divided, with some accusing Kit of unfairly targeting Gary and questioning his motives due to personal connections. Others, however, felt Kit was justified in keeping Gary under close scrutiny, while some also commented on the ongoing storyline and characters involved. Coronation Street is broadcast on ITV1 on weeknights at 8:30 p.m. and is also available to stream on ITVX.